Hi, this is Kim McDowell-Will, and I am here to cover airmen and the on-base library. Making the most out of your on-base library in order to meet your educational and professional goals. Sometimes when looking to gather new information and finding out what you need for, like, either if you need to take tests for finishing your degree or if you need to do other things concerning, like, taking an ASVAB test to continue towards your career goals in the Air Force, it can be a bit overwhelming. This is referred to as information overload. According to Wikipedia, information overload is a difficulty in understanding an issue and effectively making decisions when one has too much information about that issue. There is a way to conquer it. It's important to take one step at a time. First thing, your path to either furthering your professional or educational goals might take you to the education office. And they have a testing center there, and then they will give you handouts. There's professionals there to help you answer your questions with school, with college, with everything else. So it's really important to go to the education office. They'll give you handouts, and then when you need the materials for testing for completing these CLEPs to get the college credits that you need, they'll send you over to the library. Before walking into the library, it's important to assess your needs. Are you going there to take an ASVAB test, to maybe re-examine what your skill set is for being in the Air Force, or are you going there to take some CLEP classes? So you're going to need specific materials for that. And the library has a lot to offer. They have both books and online resources. And the biggest thing that most people sometimes forget but need to remember is that it's always okay to ask for help. If you walk into the library and you might see a sign that says study guides, or you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, you went to the education office, they gave you a bunch of handouts, and you're like, well, what am I supposed to do with this? And just feeling totally overwhelmed, there's a way to take care of that by just coming in and asking for help. And that is what the library professionals there are there for, is to help you. We're going to take a closer look at what you will find at the library for handouts, and also what you will find out the education office for handouts for CLEP materials and resources online. One of the first things when you're thinking about CLEPing for a class at college is looking at the CLEP handout. This is an example of the handout you'll receive at the test taking center at the education office. You will see here, for instance, we have college mathematics. You would go on this list, find college mathematics, and match that up to the book. Same thing with DSST. Here we have principles of supervision. If you see it on this list, you match it up to that book. Always remember to ask for help. You can access to see if all these materials are in or checked out with the online catalog, and you can place items on hold through the online catalog. And please remember that at the on-base library, they use the Dewey Decimal Systems, so everything's going to be numerical. So it's really important that if you don't understand the Dewey Decimal System that well, to either ask for help is actually the best thing to do. Moving on. One of the handouts you'll receive for the library is a CLEP online study material. This allows you to look at CLEP reviews and lectures of the classes you might be CLEPing for. Here you will see the site address as well as the password, and this could change over time, but this is another avenue that a lot of people don't realize is available. Make sure to ask library staff for assistance if you're having issues and the password's either not working or the website's not working. It can be accessed from the web. One of the big issues that we have is people will call the library and they'll say, well, it's not working. Where are you accessing it from? From the Air Force network. Please remember that the Air Air Force network blocks a lot of sites. But if you have any problems, always feel free to ask library staff for more assistance. One of the most unutilized resources in the Air Force are the online resources. The first place for airmen to look is the Air Force portal. There's tabs located at the top. Most people go only through the Air Force email to check their inbox and their email. But one thing they tend to gloss over is there is an actual tab for library and resources. As you can see here, you'll see Hoopla, there's EBSCO, there's lots of availability and lots of different resources that you can use online. And most of the time, a lot of these resources at first can only be accessed through the Air Force portal. And then you can set up an account, and then sometimes you can access it outside of the portal. An example of a really good resource is the Air Force portal tutor.com, which has live tutors that will help you with schoolwork, help you with writing a paper. So there's some resources that you can access through the Air Force portal and ones that you can access through the web. And always remember that even as I'm doing this video right now, some of these resources can possibly change. So always checking back to see if they're still there and they're still available is important. And if you have any issues, contact the library on base and they'll be able to help to assist you. If you want to be able to access these resources off the Air Force portal, then the best thing to do is to download the app. Here's an example of the CLEP materials, just a quick screenshot of what's available on Hoopla via my iPad Pro. This is just, Hoopla can be used on any mobile device. So the first thing you're going to want to do is download the app to your device. You're going to want to make an account, and if you have issues making your account, usually with Hoopla, what you have to do is ask for library staff to help you set up your Hoopla account, because unlike other public libraries where you have a library card and a number, we have specific instructions that are handed down to us through library Air Force headquarters that we have to follow. So that's something to take into consideration. It's really important as you go forward in your career in the Air Force that there tends to be a balance between your professional and educational goals. Sometimes your career will take priority over your family. Sometimes your professional goals and your educational goals will kind of sink to the bottom. But the purpose of the library on base is to be able to meet the needs of the airmen, to fulfill the Department of Defense Library's mission statement, which is to make sure that we have airmen, provide airmen readiness. So even though we have lots of resources for educational goals, such as all the different CLEP materials that are available online, materials that are available in person, even though we have materials such as ASVAB testing materials, we have also Peterson that's available on the regular web to help you with your educational as well as professional goals. We still provide services to your family. There's still lots of things for recreation to help meet all the needs, not just your professional educational, but all the needs of you as an airman and your family. For instance, there's like a game club, there's Crafternoon, there's lots of programs for children's, adults, as well as families, and there's lots of other things to check out just besides those items, such as video games, board games, movies, books, everything you can possibly think of we just want to make sure that on the base library that we're doing our best to meet the needs of our airmen. First of all, I want to say thank you for your service. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope you've learned a little bit more about what resources are available through your library on base. Feel free to leave a comment below if you have any questions. Also, there'll be an online survey if you feel like taking the time and just giving me a note, providing some kind of feedback about how you feel about this. I'd really appreciate that. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for everything.